Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. And my name is Bartosz Chojnacki, and today we are going to talk about AI-powered retail pipelines. And more importantly, I'm going to show you a live demo of what that actually looks like in practice. So let me start with a simple question. If you make products, food, cosmetics, household goods, and you sell them through large stores, networks like Walmart, Tesco, or Rossmann, you want to know one thing. How are my products actually selling? Which stores, which weeks, which regions? That data exists. Getting it into your system smoothly and reliably, that's the hard part. And that's what we solve today. The problem is that you are not dealing with one data source. You have dozens, retailers, distributions, market research providers, and each one sends data in a slightly different format on a different schedule with different column names. And when something breaks, your analysis are waiting hours and sometimes even days. Today, I want to show you a system where the AI handles that complexity. It configures itself, it fixes itself, and it explains itself all in plain English. A few words about me, so quick introduction. I'm Bartosz Chojnacki. I led the AI practice here at DStream. My work is focused on one thing, helping retail and CPG organizations and companies turn their data challenges into working solutions. No strategy documents, actual systems that run in production. I'm also a certified AI trainer and currently in the Stanford Lead program, which keeps me sharp on both the technology and the leadership side of these transformations. If you have any questions after the webinar and demo, you are welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. So, all right, let's go straight to the demo part. So let me give you the context about our demo, which I'm about to present you in a minute. Imagine your teams get a request. We need to onboard a new retailer. They are sending us weekly sales data via SFTP. Can you get it into our platform? Under the current approach, that takes 5 to 7 days. Someone has to look at the file, figure out what each column means, match it to your internal system, write the setup, test it, and of course, finally deploy it. And that's the happy part, of course. When the supplier changes a column name 2 months later, no warning, no email, your pipeline is about to break. So your morning report is missing data. Your analyst files a ticket. Your data engineer debugs it for hours. So we asked, what if the system could do all of that itself? So let me switch to the live platform now. One important thing I want to say upfront about this demo, everything you're about to see is built on public data. So datasets freely available on Kaggle. So Walmart dataset, Tesco, retail data, Rossmann, Nielsen, scanner data, all public, all open, so no client data, nothing private. I want to be clear about that from the start. We do have experience working with real client data, and we know it can look quite different in practice. So messier field names, more edge cases, stricter governance requirements. But for this demo, we made a deliberate choice to use only publicly available datasets so that everything you see is open and verifiable. So these datasets are perfect for this demo because they look and behave exactly like real retail data. So the same structure, same challenges, same field name ambiguity, just no confidentiality concerns and some names. Now this is the AI data platform, the thing that you're going to see on my screen. So on the left is the pipeline dashboard. So each row is a data source, a retailer or data provider that sends us data on a regular schedule. So you can see each one has a status indicator. A green one, a healthy status, means the pipeline is running on schedule, data is arriving as expected, and there are no issues. Think of it like a green light, so everything is flowing, everything is okay. A yellow warning status, like this one here, means something has changed. So maybe the data arrived later than expected, maybe fewer rows came through than usual, maybe the pipeline hasn't run in longer than it should. It doesn't mean that data is wrong, but it's a signal that someone should look at it. These statuses change automatically, so the system monitors every pipeline continuously. If data that normally arrives at, let's say, 6 a.m. hasn't shown up by 8 a.m., the status flips to warning. If the number of rows dropped dramatically compared to last week, also warning. If a column disappears from the file, that's when it becomes an error and the autofix kicks in, which I'll show you shortly. This matters because in a typical setup, you'd find out about these problems when an analyst complains that the report looks wrong. Here you know before anyone opens a dashboard. So let me start by getting an overview of the whole platform. So rather than reading through each pipeline manually, I'll just ask the system. So let me type the first prompt into our platform. Give me a health report of all pipelines. We can see the agent is thinking about the answer, and we can see every step the AI is taking live. And here's the result: a plain English summary, which pipelines are healthy, which need attention, and what the top recommendation is. In this case, as you can see, the UK online store is it's here, is in a warning state. It hasn't run in 14 hours, which is longer than its normal schedule. So your operations team can get this brief link first thing every morning. No dashboard open, no SQL to write, just ask. So now let's onboard a new data source from scratch, so different scenario than previous one. Let's say we have Rossmann Germany, one of Europe's largest drugstore chains, is now sending us daily store sales data as a CSV file via SFTP protocol. So let's assume the file contains columns for store ID, day of week, date, sales, number of customers, whether the store was open, and whether there was a promotion. In real life, setting this up takes 5 to 7 days. Someone has to look at the file, understand each column, map it to your internal system, write the pipeline configuration, and get it tested. Watch what happens when you just describe it to the system. So let me to reset this window to make it fresh, make it as a fresh view. And another query goes to chatbot. At Rossmann Germany daily store sales CSV via SFTP. Field store, day of week, date, sales, customers, open, promo. So typical fields. So let me run this query. So the AI agent starts immediately, and we can also see the whole pipeline, the whole steps right away. So first, the onboarding agent reads the description. It should be here, onboarding agent. It reads all the content, identifies everything it needs, the source name, the file format, how the data is delivered, and the row column names. Now the mapping agent should be also there. Mapping agent is responsible for another part of this setup. So this is the step that I wanted to highlight because it's matching each of Rossmann column names to our internal standard. So for example, we can see the Rossmann calls one column store, but in our case, it's called a little bit different. It's we call it store ID. It's also presented here in this dashboard. Yeah, this is source, and yeah, the store it's canonical store ID. For example, when it calls sales, we call it sales value in local currency. Of course, this change is also visible here. The AI works that on its own, not by matching names literally, but rather than by understanding what each column means. It's also checking whether a particular column contains personal data, so data like names, email addresses. Rossmann stores apparently doesn't have anything like that because here we see the results of PII scan, no PII fields detected. So no personal information. The system confirms that automatically this data is clean. So everything is okay. But we can just take another look at this dashboard, which appeared and is still present on the left side of the screen, because Rossmann, as another source, just appeared. The source is live and healthy, as you can see here. So total time from description to live pipeline, 1 hour 45 minutes in this demo flow. The previous baseline without the system, 5 to 7 days, as you can see here. The confirmation of what I just said. So that's the real difference for your business. And in another scenario, so let me reset this once again. Now the scenario that keeps data engineers up at night. So let's assume that a supplier updates their system. So let's say renames a column, no warning, no email, and suddenly your pipeline breaks, data stops flowing, and your dashboard goes dark. I'm going to simulate that right now. So the monitoring agent immediately detects the problem. So let me click simulate break to see this out live. Monitoring agent should be able to see this problem right away. And yeah, here we have the results. It's loading the expected schema for the Nielsen weekly pipeline, but the list of columns this source is supposed to deliver, and comparing to what just arrived, it's different. We can see this here. So Nielsen weekly fetching latest execution metadata, but there is difference in schema, as you can see here. One field is missing, but one was expected. So unexpected was unit volume. So, but the better part is the autofix agent, which took over automatically. As you can see here, it was able to identify the root cause of the issue. So field names in the incoming schema do not align with the expected naming conventions, causing downstream processing errors. But the best part is it was able to automatically apply the fix for this setup, as you can see here. So the pipeline is back up, the fix was applied, validated, and logged, all without anyone being woken up. So in a typical setup, a schema break like this takes 4 to 6 hours to resolve, from the moment an analyst notices something is wrong to the moment a data engineer deploys a fix. So that's just not engineering time, that's delayed decisions for your business. And in our case, it's just a matter of seconds. So let me reset this view once again. And last scenario, which is my personal favorite, because it changes who can get answers from data. So let's assume there is a Monday morning and your commercial director comes in. I heard Tesco UK sales data was down last week. What happened? So normally answering that question means opening a BI tool, pulling a report, exporting to Excel, cross-referencing with emails from the data provider, and writing a summary. That takes an analyst an hour, sometimes half a day. Let me show you what happens when you ask our system. So let me type another query to our chatbot. What did Tesco UK data drop last week? So the agent is right now working, and yeah, we have the answer. It's loaded the full execution history for this source, as you can see here, 4 weeks of data. It's analyzing raw counts, transfer timestamps or latency, cross-referencing the SFTP transfer logs with the actual ingestion records in our data. So in agent thinking panel, we can see the real diagnosis, because only 3 out of 5 expected files were delivered, along with limited amount of rows. And the data for Scotland and Northern Ireland, it's missing entirely. So a root cause, an unstable SFTP connection that caused this partial transfer. And the main answer in this chat gives you the immediate action. So investigate the SFTP instability and ask the data provider to resend the missing files for those 2 regions. So one response, diagnosis, and action together. What would take an analyst half a day to piece together, done in seconds in this case. So this is what we call a source expert agent. Every data source in your platform gets one. It knows the history, the patterns, the normal ranges. It's like having someone on your team who has been working with that specific data source for years. Available instantly, anytime someone asks a question. Yeah, so I think we can get back to presentation for this moment. And maybe a little words about us before we wrap up. DStream has been in the market for 9 years. So from traditional analytics to modern AI, over 200 senior certified experts across data science, machine learning, and AI. And we are not a boutique shop. We have a headquarters in Poland, offices in the US and India, and we work across CPG, retail, manufacturing, telecoms, financial services, and tech. And what is important, we hold certification for information security, and we are currently finalizing the emerging standard for AI management systems. When we say enterprise grade, we mean it. So what you saw, it's not a research project. It's built on the same foundation we've been using with clients for years. So Azure, Databricks, and now AI agents on top. The platform is designed to work with infrastructure most you already have. So if this resonates with a challenge you are facing right now, I'd love to talk. And let me get back to this particular slide, because We are about to have a Q&A session, but I wanted to show you one thing. What you saw today is working system built entirely on public data from Kaggle. So Walmart, Tesco, Rossmann, Nielsen, scanner fields, everything open, everything verifiable on the public data sets. And now it's time for your questions. So I'll be glad to answer any one of them. But I just wanted to present you this slide because, which is also important thing. You can scan this QR code on the slide to book a time directly in our calendar. It's free, so no commitment. Conversation with one of our experts. We look at your specific situation and tell you honestly whether this approach makes sense for you. So I'll be displaying this one for a while waiting for your questions. And here we have question, this looks great for the data engineering side, but how do business users interact with it? Do they need to go through IT every time, or can a commercial analyst just ask a question directly? So thank you for that, because it's a great question. And that's one decision that we made by building this platform. So it's important that you don't have to need any IT knowledge or go to IT ticket system to do job like that, because it's about to resolve the issues on your own and via using this data and AI agents. So of course it depends on particular challenge, because if, for example, the AI agent is not capable to answer a particular question, it's going to answer higher ranked IT specialist. But in most of the cases, you don't have to need any business, any IT knowledge, and you don't have to pass a ticket to IT to ask a question and get the real answer. Okay, we have another question. I have a question about the onboarding scenario. What happens if the source description is vague or incomplete? Does the agent ask for clarification, or it make assumptions? Definitely, we were able to get rid of assumptions, because on production system, it's not welcome scenario that you have some kind of assumptions, or either assumptions or hallucinations. We make this 100% proof that agent is capable of answering questions. So if agent is not able to pass the answer directly because it's uncertain about certain fields, certain data structure, is going to pass this question to other engineer and to make sure that everything is 100% correct. So lack of hallucinations, it's a very good sign for production systems like a system like that. Okay, do we have more questions? And remember that in the meantime, you can scan this QR code, because, as I mentioned, there is no commitment. It's a free consultation with us about things that we have for enterprise clients. Okay, probably there are no questions. But as I mentioned, you can also scan this QR code and contact with us. We'll be glad to answer anything related to these systems on things or the things that you are doing for your company to make this data more reliable. So yeah, just to do some kind of wrap up of what you saw. And let me return to the platform for a while. So 3 things the platform does that your team currently does manually. So the first thing is onboarding, so we can describe a new data source in plain English, and 5 to 7 days becomes under 2 hours. Second, self-healing. A supplier names a column, so instead of 4-hour debugging session, the system detects it and fixes in seconds, so also automatically. And the last one, root cause analysis. So you can ask why something dropped, like in our case in Tesco UK, and you can get a specific answer with exact numbers, not a dashboard to interpret yourself. Yeah, so, and one more thing worth saying to the end, in production, this isn't something your team needs to actively manage. The agents run in the background continuously. Your team just gets notified when something was fixed or when human judgment is actually needed. So the rest is autonomous. So do we have any more questions? As I can see, probably not. So yeah, but remember, this tool was just a proof of concept at the current state, but a very capable one. So the core is working. What's left is hardening for your specific environment. So if that's a conversation worth having, let's have it. Okay, so that was everything that I wanted to show you today. So thank you for your presence on this webinar, and see you on the next one. Take care and goodbye.